Chicago Tomahawk. I'm Mike, and I got my linemate Matt with me. And today we're going to go over the Blackhawks' past few games. They've actually won 2 games in a row, but they've also dropped a couple too. So Matt, man, you know the Blackhawks have won 2 in a row. They shut out the Yotes. Obviously, the Coyotes, even the Blackhawks in tank mode are better than the Coyotes, which is sad. And here's something I wanted to talk about: Auston Mathews. Do you think that, number one, the Coyotes are a team that's on its way up in any way?
No.
Now, that being said, and them losing to the Blackhawks, do you think that there's any desire for Auston Mathews to go to the Yotes?
No, but we're going to continue to hear like he's going to take a big contract or get a big offer from them just because it's his hometown, the hometown team. But
sure,
once you get a taste of like Canada, sellout hockey in Toronto, why the hell would you want to go there in front of like 3,000 people? It's stupid. It's not what a hockey player lives to, do.
Yeah, it's I don't see it happening. I wonder why that, like Bettman is just so hell bent on having. I mean, I get it. He wanted to have an organization everywhere around the United States, right? And he accomplished that. But it's not working in Phoenix. And the reason I want to talk about Phoenix is because in Europe, they have soccer leagues, right? There's a Champions League and they have, all of these leagues, right? So if you're not at the top of your league, so say you're not within a certain threshold, you get dropped to like a tier under. So pretty much all these teams, whoever the best is, they make up the Champions League, right? With the NHL, with the way that it is, do you think that with a team like, say, Phoenix, we've got AHL teams, do you think that the NHL could benefit from something like this?
Oh, you mean like moving them down to the AHL?
Yeah. So say you move the Yotes down to the AHL, and then you move, say, the Calder Cup winner, and move them up to the NHL.
Yeah. You know what? There's been talk of that. Maybe a couple of years ago, I think it was the Hamilton Bulldogs. They were always so good. I think it was the Montreal Canadiens farm team, and they said like this team is so good. They have a good following every night. They sell their building out. They should be an NHL city. And even they talk about Quebec, bringing back like the Nordique type of thing. And like you said, I don't know why they keep forcing this, the Coyotes. It's just, it gets worse and worse every year. Like this year, you're playing in a college stadium. I mean, how would you feel if you were an NHL player? I know it's you're still getting a check and everything, but it's just different, man. I would hate it. I'd hate going to a rink that you can't even put your logo on the center ice. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I honestly believe that the NHL can benefit from this because it would force them to, essentially house teams that won't tank on purpose. Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
There's an incentive to win that you don't want to drop to the AHL, and with the Coyotes, perennially, being at the bottom of the league, I just think that it's something that needs to be done.
How many draft picks did they have in the last couple of years? First round picks. I think they had over like 10 first round picks.
Wow.
And what's going on? I know that players need to develop, but that game against the Hawks, did you notice anybody?
No.
I only heard Shane Gostisbehere, or Ghost Bear, they used to call him, from Philly.
Right.
I guess they had to move his contract and bury him out in the desert, but he was like the only guy I really noticed. And I don't know what they're doing there, but if they're tanking for Bedard or something, but if you're Connor Bedard, like if I'm Connor Bedard, I'd rather stay in juniors, like I said a couple of weeks ago. He's selling out that building in juniors right now. Right. Why the hell would you want to go to Phoenix? I'm sorry, Arizona. It's not the Phoenix Coyotes anymore, but
yeah, I have a hard time with it too.
I can't. I couldn't do it. He might pull an Eric Lindros, saying, "Nah, you know what? Sorry, maybe give Phoenix some more first round picks, trade me somewhere else." I could see it happening. I would not want to play for them.
Wow. So just hypothetically speaking, I wonder who has the package to send to Phoenix if they get that number 1 draft pick for Bedard.
Yeah, I don't even remember what back in the day. What did Philadelphia do? I know Peter Forsberg was involved, top prospect and everything. Yeah, but I don't think the Hawks have the, I bet
Capital.
you Lukas Reichel would be included because that's like our best trophy right now that we could show off a little bit. But we do have first round picks. We got 2 of them, but who knows, man? That would just be crazy if that happened, though. Can you imagine that Phoenix getting the first round pick? I'd feel terrible for Bedard. I really would.
Yeah, and they can't let that happen. It's funny you mentioned Reichel. Robert Reichel was an excellent NHL player. I don't know if he's somebody that I'd want to get rid of. He's so creative, man.
Lucas?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Of course. Yeah,
I'm saying that Robert Reichel was a great NHL player.
Yeah.
Lukas Reichel, his nephew. Yeah. I think he's really creative, man.
Well, the last 2 games, man, he's really shown his maturity. He's flying out there, man. He's making
everywhere
really creative passes. Every time he's touching the puck, he's a threat. And when's the last time we could say that other than Patrick Kane? This guy's got the puck. You got to have your, you got to be on your toes. This guy can make plays. And the last 2 games, he's been great.
Yeah, you could tell Domi had a big pep in his step tonight, man. He was all over the place trying to make plays. He was, getting into a fight, and he ended up getting the game winner tonight with a 4-3 Blackhawks win over Calgary. That was a hell of an effort too by Domi. Can you believe that guy?
Well, he fumbled the puck.
He did,
and Reichel was jumping off the bench. He flying right behind him like he's been flying all night, and made a great saucer pass right to Domi. Nice backhand move up into the open net. A sweet goal, man. You don't really see that much from him, but he had a great game tonight too. That line's got some really good chemistry.
You know what, dude? I was gonna bring that up. I really like that Kurashev, Domi, and Domi and Reichel line, man.
Yeah, Kurashev made some nice passes too on the boards and stuff down low, getting it up to Reichel, and same the other way around. That 2-on-1 they scored tonight. Reichel, holding that fake shot for a while, he kind of froze up Markstrom. And
he did, big time.
Scored the easiest goal of his life. I think Kurashev was like, oh my God, that was a world-class pass. He just buried it.
Yeah, it was incredible. I was like, man, I think he froze me for a second.
He did. I thought he was shooting too. Just the way he was positioned with his stick, and he just kind of slowed up and just perfect pass.
Yeah, great. Kurashev, I think I would, if anything, I would give Kurashev the most improved player award this year so far. I think that he's a guy that has always showed promise, but would kind of disappear, night in and night out. He's hunting down pucks if he needs to. He's, he's trying to create offense. He's back checking. I would say this guy has definitely improved big time comparative to last year.
I say you leave this line together, even if Patrick Kane comes back, because this line is really complementing each other. You got the gritty center and Max Domi, who proved he could score some goals. He just doesn't need Patrick Kane to do it. He's doing it with Reichel now. And, he sticks up for his teammates. If you try to pull some shit, he'll drop the gloves. He's not shy. And like you said, Kurashev, he's hunting pucks down. Kind of like his rookie season, he's winning board battles. And, you get the puck to Reichel. He's like a Patrick Kane. He's real creative. He's really smart, makes really good passes. I'm actually impressed with his speed. I didn't know he had that. In these last 2 games, he's been showing it.
Yeah, he has. It's funny. Him and Mitchell have been showing their speed a lot. I would say Mitchell, maybe like the past few games, I didn't know that he had wheels the way that he does. And to be honest with you, man, Caleb Jones has got some wheels too. He had a play earlier in the game where he came flying up the ice for an opportunity, and he got a shot on net. Which, to be honest with you, man, I think that they need to put that guy at wing and let him skate the puck up.
You said that, and they did. And he had a good game. I think he had like 5 shots in like 2 periods. And
yeah,
if you got nowhere else to put him and you want to play him still, put him up on the wing. I don't think he's really much of a defenseman. He gets lost too much and kind of makes some boneheaded plays, and he can't recover like, say his brothers. His brothers, Seth Jones is still a pretty solid defenseman. I know people are going to hate on that contract all they want, but I mean, we got the cap space, relax. It's not affecting us. But Seth Jones, I thought, was pretty good the last 2 games too. He was making some smart plays, and they recently named him to the All-Star team, which kind of weird. I personally think Kane should have been named to the All-Star team just because it could maybe be his last season here, and I just think it would be awesome for him to get one more All-Star game in before, if he doesn't end up coming back. It would be nice to see him in a Blackhawk uniform representing the All-Stars one more time.
Sure. Jake McCabe had a pretty good game tonight. Actually, he got into a fight as well.
The last 2 games, I thought, McCabe. Yeah, he had that nice slapper from the blue line, and I don't know if you heard that Lazarus was Mark Lazarus from the The Athletic. Do you think he's kind of, he was kind of complimenting him of kind of being a smart ass like he normally is. Said like, I didn't know you had that shot, and Jake goes, Mark, I could shoot the puck. We all could shoot the puck here. He's like, kind of like a shut the hell up moment, which he needs sometimes because he likes making the story about himself more than the actual game. But I thought that was funny.
I would think McCabe is the wrong guy to do that to be honest with you.
After tonight, you don't want to mess with that guy. He will put a freaking bag full of knuckles in your chin. Yeah,
definitely. I like him.
He's been good. Hey, and he's been playing with Seth Jones, which is where he should be playing with. The exact partner he needs.
100%. I like to see him, and I really like that that Mitchell Isaac Phillips defensive pairing. I think that they have some chemistry, and I think that they play well with each other.
Yeah, they like the same thing. You got your puck mover, and you got your guy who's gonna take care of his own end and make the smart play, getting it out of the zone, blocking shots. That's what you want.
But before we go any further, I got to let you guys know the NFL playoffs are coming up, and the playoff picture is locked in, and my go-to place for wild card round action is DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. To kick off the road to the Super Bowl 57, new customers can bet just $5 and get 200 in free bets instantly. Plus, all new and existing customers can get a no-sweat bet each day of the wild card round this weekend. Just place any NFL bet of your choice, and if it loses, you'll get a free bet back up to $10. Action's so good, we bet NFL playoffs anywhere else. So, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, use code SHYTOMAHAWK. New customers can bet $5 on the NFL and get 200 in free bets instantly. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with the code Chicago Tomahawk. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. If you're not 21, you can't have any fun. So, back to the podcast. Matt, Patrick Kane is something that we need to talk about. He has a nagging injury. It's a knee injury. This is something that's been going on with him for, I think, the past couple years. Do you think that he's like, you know what? I need to get this worked on, and he gets it done, and then he, just stays with the Hawks?
Well, yeah, he did say in that one morning skate, I think it was against the Coyotes, he said he probably could play, but he's just going to take the safe route and sit this one out. And then they said he wasn't going to play tonight. It's almost a little bit concerning, but
sure.
I mean, at this point, you don't want to, force the guy to play and play through an injury. Just, get it right. And once it's back, once you're feeling 100%, come back.
Do you think that things are maybe a little bit, maybe they're not what they seem?
Well, the points are down this year. There's some nights where I've said this to you before. He kind of was a non-factor. He didn't look like he was normal Patrick Kane, getting the puck, and like Lukas Reichel has been the last 2 games.
Sure.
You're like, whoa, you could tell it's Lukas Reichel when he's got the puck.
Right.
That's how it used to be with Patrick Kane when 88 was out there. You don't even have to. You don't even have to like look in the direction. Even if you couldn't see the player, you just knew it was him by the way he plays. And he just really hasn't had that in a while. And it could be because of the injury, or it could just he doesn't really have the supporting cast around him. I don't know. Do you think if him and Reichel were together, would you think, are they the type of players that need to be separate, or do you think you load them up on the top line and see what they got? Do you think they'd complement each other?
I'd like to see a Kane, Taves, Radish line, or Athanasiou, and then I'd like to keep the Reichel, Domi, and Kurashev line as of right now.
Do you think, though, in order to get Patrick Kane, going again, light his fire up again, maybe stick him with Reichel? And maybe Kaner is saying, "Hey, I got to play with this kid. Put me and Domi together." Because I think Domi and Kaner are good together.
Yeah, they are.
But Kurashev, like we said, he's been good, and that line has got three different types of players that that works. It's working. We're 2-0, So maybe it could be Kaner is just it's a rough season, man. Losing, he's not used to this losing. Well, the last couple of years he's been losing, but Kaner's a winner. He's got to play with guys that want it like he does. And I feel like at times he's just not getting that. So he might need that motivation and some like a good player to jumpstart him a little bit. But if he's hurt, sit him as long as you can. There's no point to hurry him back and re-aggravate an injury. But it could be Kaner. Hey, my name could be floating around at the deadline. I want to be healthy for a team that's going to make a splash for me. Or it could be the management saying, hey, Kane, take all the time you need. This season's kind of lost anyway.
I think it's going to be the latter of what you just said. I think that Kaner could be like, what. Because he has looked a step or two slower than what he normally is. I've noticed that over the past 10 games. I honestly think that he could say, hey, you know what? I just want to stick around. I want to keep playing hockey. I have a knee injury. It's coming at the wrong time. I want to get this taken care of so I'm ready for next season. Do you guys want to keep me around, or what's the deal here? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I texted you maybe a couple days ago. I said, you know what? I changed my tune on the Patrick Kane thing now. I think Kaner will stay, and I think he's going to wait and see what the Hawks get at the draft lotto. If the Hawks can get the first round pick, I truly believe he's going to say, I want to be with this guy. I want to play with Connor Bedard. I can 100% see Kaner saying that. Give me a 3-year deal. I'll take a home, the hometown discount type of thing. Just put me with this kid. I want to be here and show him the way like those guys showed me the way when I came up.
A minimum of $7 million he should be paid, I think.
Yeah, $6-7 million would be great. 3 years, finish your career. And if you want to keep going, we'll just do 1 year,
I'll be honest with you, man. Look at the draft this year is really good, man.
It is.
If the Hawks have a top 3 pick, I mean, I don't see why he wouldn't want to, stick around.
Well, the World Juniors, Team Canada won. The hockey world was watching, and the players watch all that stuff too.
Yeah,
I think that Bedard is the guy that could get drafted and play on the top line of the NHL team he gets drafted by. That's how good he is.
Yeah,
and I think Kaner's already said he's seen him play in camps, and he says he was the most standout guy I saw. And he couldn't believe his skill level at that age. And even tonight, I guess he returned to the WHL, and he got, let me see here, 4 goals, 2 assists, 6 points, 13 shots on goal. So this guy is a machine. And I can even see Taves wanting to stay if you got a guy like this. This guy is a freaking difference maker right away. It's a franchise changer. And it's almost like getting a Patrick Kane or Jonathan Taves all over again at like an 18-year-old age. It's huge. It would be huge for any organization. But if the Hawks got him, the United Center would be filled up and the season ticket holder waiting list would return.
I'd have to get that jersey, man.
Number 98.
I'd have to get that Bedard jersey.
Oh, God, yeah. Dude, that would be insane.
It would. I mean, I am on the boat, of hoping for it.
Yeah.
But I won't be disappointed with what we get.
No, it's all luck now. I mean, it's not like the
It
Bears.
is.
The Bears
Look at
finished
Korchinski.
last. Yeah,
Look at Korchinski. I mean, they pulled a rabbit out of a hat with that trade. Yeah, we lost to Brinkett. Sure. I mean, we did lose to Brinkett. You know, that stings like as a fan base. But Korchinski, he was great for the Canadians. He played really well. And, you know, this kid is probably NHL ready now. He could be on the roster next year.
Nolan Allen was also good. I think they were actually paired together.
Yeah, they were. Apparently that they play really well with each other. So they're going to need to make some room on this blue line. So essentially, you know, I don't think Caleb Jones is going to be playing on the blue line next year.
No, I think that Korchinski will sign with the AHL at the end of the year. Oh, he'll sign his entry deal at the end of the season, or maybe before the end of the season. He'll go right to Rockford, and he'll play in the playoffs in the AHL. Nolan Allen I think he's already signed, but I think that they might call him up to Rockford too. And Del Mastro, another defenseman who was very good, he might get a shot, and maybe next year around this time, those guys might be up on the big club. Because I think Reichel, it's been working out. I mean, they did their thing with the AHL. They wanted him to learn. Good for him. I think Reichel should stay the rest of the season. Just the way he's been playing lately, he deserves it. He's kind of lighting it up in the AHL. He's too good for that league.
Yeah, I agree. You know, Del Mastro, and I need to learn how to pronounce his name.
Mastro, I believe. I think I said it wrong too.
I think that he is not next year. I think he's 1 year away from the from the big club. Just from what I've read about him, that I know that he's doing very, very well, but he might need a full season in the AHL.
Yeah, well,
Nolan Allen on the other end, he's been I think he's been blowing away expectations, and they might want to bring him in just with Korchinski just to say, hey, you know what, we need to get these kids up. Because here's the deal. We know we've talked about this ad nauseum. The cap space is going up huge in about 2 years. Okay. So when that happens, we need to be able to sign big name free agents to solidify this team. And in those 2 years, these kids could get that experience where, like the Blackhawks, and this is what worked for the Blackhawks, and why I believe Toronto has missed the train. I'm going to get into that in 1 second. These kids need to be ready to play, have the experience of playing an 82-game NHL season, at least 2 of them under their belts. So when that third season comes and they're signing these big name free agents, that they are ready to go and play. The Blackhawks in 08-09, they had a very, very young team, right? And they made it to the Western Conference Finals, lost to Detroit. Detroit went on and won the Stanley Cup that year, I believe. Or was it the, no, it was
Pittsburgh.
The Pittsburgh Penguins did.
Yep.
Next year, 09-10, Blackhawks signed Marian Hossa, and he was that big name free agent that they needed. And what they had was a very, very talented young team. We had a couple veterans on there, and then we had a group of guys who were about 2 or 3 years into the league, like Patrick Sharp, Andrew Ladd, Bufflin, about 2 or 3 years into the league, and they were solidifying their roles. And then we had some young guys, franchise makers like Patrick Kane, Jonathan Taves, that were young. They were not making their money yet, and they were able to essentially solidify a dynasty. And they ended up started winning cups. By that 2013 Cup is when Taves and Kane started making money. And when that happened, we needed to start filling in role players, and essentially the core had to carry the load, where in 2010 it was kind of more of a team effort. In 2013 it was more of the named guys carrying the load and having some role players. Same thing in 2015. Toronto has they have superstars on their team that they are paying huge money to, and they can't get past the first round of the playoffs. I think that they've missed the train for that, man. I think that their opportunity is done unless Auston Mathews is scoring 100 goals a year and starts scoring that at that rate in the playoffs, I don't see them making it. And I think that the Blackhawks are trying to recreate what they did in 2010.
Well, Auston Matthews got to start stopping pucks too, the way that they're spending. That's the thing. They're trying the going with two goalies that, they were once good. Matt Murray was good. And I don't know who the other guy is in that. I think it's Samsonov, a former Washington goalie, I believe. I'm sorry if I'm wrong, but sorry, man. If Pittsburgh got rid of this guy and Ottawa got rid of this guy, he's not the answer in goal. Toronto's going to have a rough playoff again, I think. Like you said, they had to pay their guys, they're doing it a little bit different from the Hawks. They're paying their big-time guys before they even do anything. You haven't proven anything. You've proven, you could score in the season, great. You got to do it in the playoffs. And then John Tavares, you give that massive contract to.
Yeah.
That was a big splash for him. It's kind of like what we did with Hossa, but
that was supposed to be their Hossa, their Hossa type signing.
He really hasn't, done much in the playoffs. I mean, none of them have.
Scoring like he did in New York.
No, he wasn't. And
he was an MVP, practically an MVP in New York.
I think he was a Hart nominee, maybe, but still, their window, this is it. It's almost closed. And if the goaltending, I think the goaltending is weak. I know Toronto right now, they're living the high life right now. They think they're going to be good, but that's how they were last year too.
Yeah.
And Jack Campbell was good, but this could be it. This could be it for them if they don't win. I think, like you said, Matthews is looking for that big contract. I don't think he's going to want to stay. It's why would you want to play 82 games, dominate, and lose freaking 4, maybe win 2 in the playoffs, and you're done in 6 games? It's not fun. You got to make some noise. So they have to win a playoff series. That should be their first goal, not going right to the cup goal. They got to win a playoff series and then feed off that. But it's going to be tough for them. But like going back to the Hawks, I like what they're doing. I like building the blue line first. And you got a Soderblom in net. He's a good goalie. He proved he could be a good goalie.
Yeah.
You got your Korchinski. You got your Nolan Allen, Del Mastro. You got Colton Dock up front. You got Reichel. You got some pieces there. So they're going to have to do some fill-ins. And like you said, they got to develop these guys. And depending on who we get this year, let's just say we got Bedard, which would be absolutely massive. You're going to get, I think you'd get Kaner back. You're going to have, I think Domi would be a good second-line center to keep the way he's playing. You're going to just have to start filling in pieces and hoping draft picks kind of develop for you. Like you find some gems like Dave Bolin. He came up and they thought he was going to be a top line center. He ended up being one of the best shutdown centers the Hawks have had since a Troy Murray. So you're going to find pieces like that, and these guys are going to blossom. I think there's a kid. I think I'm saying his name wrong. It's like Savor. He's lighting it up too in the league he's in. I was reading about him. This could be another guy that under the radar type of guy. But we're going to have we're going to have 2 first-round picks this year. So that's going to be huge. We got two possible NHL guys that could be up in the next 2-3 years. That's huge for the Hawks.
Colton Dock, man, I think that he's a somebody that a lot of people wrote off after he got drafted, and this kid is proving his way every step of the way.
Yeah, it's a shame he got hurt.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is a shame that he got hurt. But this kid's good, man. I guess he has to live in his brother's shadow a little bit, but he's a pretty good player. If Bedard, like we were talking about, the Hawks get Bedard, there's gonna be other guys who want to come here.
Oh yeah.
Like to ask Auston, like, hey, I know you want 15. How about a chance to win a cup, and we'll pay you 12.5?
Never mind the cup. How about getting past the first round?
Yeah, yeah. Look what we got here. We have 2 established, guys with playoff experience in Taves and Kane. We've got a generational player that should be in Connor Bedard, and we've got a team of young guys that are looking to find their way. But we need somebody who can put the puck in the net. He's like, I can do that. Patrick Kane or Lukas Reichel. Could you imagine Lukas Reichel feeding Auston Mathews?
It would be amazing. It would absolutely be amazing if that were to happen. The Hawks will be a team that will have space to get them. All these other teams, they're up against the cap. They're going to start paying their guys. Obviously, Colorado's kind of that team that's going to have to. Well, they're already paying their guys big bucks. So it's going to be like a Phoenix, the Hawks. You got Columbus, which I don't see him going to unless he wants to be closer to home.
Unless he talks to Johnny Gaudreau.
I want to be closer to the desert. I'm going to sign with Columbus. But teams like that are they're usually at the bottom. Like even Ottawa, I don't see him going to the rival unless Ryan Reynolds, buys the Senators and he's like, hey, I'll put you in Deadpool 3.
I'll put you in Deadpool 3 and give you $20 million a year.
Just come on. We'll get you a $45 million check. Be in Deadpool 3. Play for my hockey team.
Play for my hockey team for $10 million a year. We'll pay you $45 million to be in Deadpool 3 to make up that other end of the deal.
That would be
circumvent the NHL.
Backbreaking to the Leafs organization. Oh my! You thought it was bad now, oh brother.
Yeah, no kidding. To be honest with you, man, if that could happen, I think the Blackhawks could make a very compelling offer to him.
Well, there was reports of him, like I said, I think maybe last 2 podcasts ago or whatever, he signed like a Goose Island deal, a beer deal.
Oh,
so,
right.
I mean, maybe that was a rumor or something. Maybe I misread something, but I still think he's got the Patrick Kane connection. The American guys are tight. They talk, and I guarantee you they're texting back and forth. Just say, what's going on? Hey, I saw you scored 60. Congrats. Stuff like that. NHL guys are tight. They're always talking. All the stars kind of align themselves together and stuff. So it would be cool. When's his deal up? Next 2 years?
I'd have to look it up, but I know that they're talking about his extension and they're saying that he wants 8 years, $15 million.
Well, the Leafs have to do it. They have no choice, but what about Marner?
What about him?
He's gone.
Well, the cap is going up big time, but
but
they're gonna have to. I mean, he's gonna want to get paid.
I think you got to try to get rid of Tavares if you're gonna get all that money away up front.
Yeah,
I mean, it's hard. It's hard, the salary cap, man. Just try doing it on like NHL PlayStation. It's trying to keep a team together. It ain't easy,
No, I agree.
It's hard.
And you know what? To be honest with you, in more of like kind of left field, what if DeBrincat says, "Hey, you know what? I'm done here in Ottawa. This isn't what I thought it was going to be. Even though I got traded here, I want to come back to Chicago. I liked it in Chicago. Like he said in his I think it was that Players Tribune, his like little tribute to Chicago. He really liked it here. Do you think that there's a possibility that he's like, I'm going to come back to Chicago, especially if they get Bedard?
Yeah, well, that could happen, and that would be a great little sneaky move by Davidson. He got his defenseman he really wanted to, and then he ended up getting his 40-goal guy back. I personally think that DeBrincat will end up going home to the Red Wings. So I don't, which is fine because I think DeBrincat could, he can ask for $9 million a season. And I think at this point right now, that wouldn't be good for the Hawks.
Sure. Okay.
But I could be wrong, and we've seen stuff like that happen before. So it could happen especially if we get Bedard or Patrick Kane decides he wants to stay. Those two are like bread and butter together. So you never know.
Lastly, I want to talk about Stalock. I think his last 8 games, he hasn't let more than 3 goals, and this guy's standing on his head. Do you think that they're going to try to move him at the deadline?
Well, he's absolutely helping the Hawks if a team's out there willing to give a pickup for him. I think the Hawks should maybe extend him another year because of the way he's playing. It's hard to find a goalie like this. It's dude standing on his head. I think he stopped 42 tonight. I think it was 35 last game, 30 something. That's a lot of shots, and there's a lot of shot attempts too. So he's seeing shots whiz by him. And he's standing on his head, man. He's not really giving up weak goals. Like,
No.
we've had issues with, Lankinen and Delia and Subban giving up some just trash goals.
Yeah.
And so I can't say I really have seen a bad one from him. And he competes, man. He'll go out and challenge a shot. He took a puck to the head the other night, popped his lid right off, and he kept going. I know they blew the whistle right away, but he was ready to get another, stop another rebound.
Yeah.
So I like the guy. He's a gamer. I like his locker room speeches. He's hilarious. He's a team guy. Just a battler. It's a guy you want to play in front of. So I personally hope the Hawks give him a fair deal, maybe 2 years, maybe another 1 year, and just say, hey man, you're the starter. Have fun with it.
And then name Soderblom the backup next year.
He definitely earned the starting role. Stalock is the number one here. Mrazek he's not bad, but he's just not playing as well as Stalock. So he's got the crown of the number one, and I would love to see him come back.
Mrazek, it's like the game starts off well for him, but as it goes on, it's kind of like his ability goes down as the time of the game goes on.
I think that's why he's been on a couple teams the last couple seasons. He's been with the Hurricanes, and he kind of shared a net with a guy and ended up being a backup for Toronto. Wasn't that good, getting hurt, and teams are just like, hey, you know what? It's just not working out, and then he ends up coming here. He was good for the first couple games, but I just getting outplayed by a guy who wants it more, and in Stalock, he's earning it.
Yeah, I agree. Well, Matt, you got anything else, man?
No. The only thing is Seth Jones. Congrats. He's going to the All-Star game representing the Blackhawks. Only Hawk so far. I don't know how you feel about it. I know a lot of people on Twitter are kind of like, are you freaking serious? Seth Jones is going? So I'm happy for the guy. He's good. He definitely is an All-Star caliber player, but like you said earlier, I'd like to see Kaner represent the Hawks at least one more time.
I think Taves is having a good year. He's good at the dot.
Yeah, he's just not putting up the numbers.
His stats look better than Seth Jones's does. Jones is like a minus. It's like a minus 26. It's got like
two different
4
positions.
Goals.
Yeah,
he's an offensive defenseman with 4 goals.
Yeah. Well, another thing on Twitter is the whole Erik Karlsson's playing in a different universe right now, and he's gonna win the Norris. And
Probably.
I ended up sticking my nose in the business of it. I'm like, well, he's a minus player. I don't think he deserves to win. And I got tons of hate, probably from 20-year-olds that don't know what a stay-at-home defenseman really is anymore, because there's not too many of them. But I said I'd give the Norris Trophy to Josh Morrissey. Now they're calling him Josh Norrisy. He was so good. I was lucky enough to see him play live this year, and this guy was really noticeable, really solid in his own end, makes really good passes. And I think he deserves a Norris this year. As of now. I don't care if Karlsson gets 100 points. If you're a minus 10, 15, you're not a defenseman.
Yeah. Early hardware predictions.
Yeah. McDavid for everything. McDavid might win the Vezina. He's just winning everything. So it's crazy.
He is, man. He's absolutely incredible.
I think he's up by like 20-something points, and I think second place guy is Draisaitl, his teammate. Yeah. So it's like a battle. They should make a third place award for somebody that's not an Oiler, like Tage Thompson. You got Pasta and Jason Robertson from the Stars. They're having good years.
Yeah,
it's a shame the Oilers guys are just kind of running away with it again
for the 5th year in a row.
It's going to be like that for the next 10 years, I think, man. We just got to, like I said, we should have a third place award that isn't McDavid or Draisaitl.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, all right, everybody, that's all that we got for you tonight. Thank you very, very much for listening. If you're not following us on Twitter, do us a favor, follow us on Twitter. We usually release, up-to-date information on there on, what's going on with the podcast, what we're doing, that kind of thing. And we'll catch you on the next one. This is the Tomahawk. We're out of here.